Hi there, welcome back to another video, and hi, I'm Kay. Welcome if you're new. I am on a mission at the moment to declutter, simplify, minimise my life and make it feel so much more easy to live with. And this is a part of my new series, which I feel like I've done previously, but this time I am fully serious. I am fully on board. I am decluttering my life, and oh boy, do we need to declutter my life. I just feel this deep innate pull to just clear every single room in my house and just make it such a much more intentional space to live. On the surface, I feel like I look and feel organised, but when you open those cupboards and you open those drawers, it just feels like I'm holding on to stuff that I just don't need, and the house just feels heavy. I don't know if any of you can relate to that feeling, but it doesn't feel like a good space to live in. So I'm really excited to just have a good clear out. So today we are starting off in the kitchen, one of the places that I spend most of my time as a homemaker and someone who just loves to cook and to nurture and feed my family. So yes, we are starting in there today. This video is a realistic video. I didn't manage to declutter the entire kitchen. I just did little pieces as I went along, and I'm hoping to share that journey with you as well. So we will do the kitchen today, and then we'll probably carry on with the kitchen till it's finished in other videos, and then we'll be moving on to different areas of my life. I'll be bringing you along with me in hopes to inspire you guys to do the same thing if you need to, and we'll go room by room very methodically and in a very logistical way, in hopes that by the end of this series I have just a nice home that I feel really good, really proud about, and just much more organised as well. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and let's jump into the video, shall we? So to start off with, I needed a box. So I used this box that we got from Dom's late Nana's house. So just a few bits and bobs that we're going to bring into our home. So I just needed to deal with them, and they've just been sat on the floor, as you'll have seen, for the last few weeks, because I just haven't had the brain space to declutter enough to make space for them. But it was really important to me that we did, because we really want these little pieces in our lives. So what I thought I would do first is empty the box and pop them on the side, and then I would have the box to try and declutter the under the sink cupboard, because oh wow, look at the mess. I am so embarrassed of this cupboard, and it's just been an ongoing battle. Every day that I use it, I go in there for the sweeping brush many times a day, and everything would fall out on me, and it was getting to be a nuisance. So I went into the depths of this cupboard, something I haven't done in the 3 years that we've lived here. I got every single thing out, and it just felt so overwhelming, but in a good way. Like I was cleaning out all of my dirty cobwebs and all my dirty secrets from the back of the cupboard. It felt so good, and I highly recommend to do this if your cupboard looks the same. So I knew it was going to be bad, because from the day we moved in, apart from one time a few months ago, like maybe half a year ago, I tidied up and I put this new storage solution in, but I've never took everything out. So all the things that were like in the corner, I even found a little hint of who I once was. I got my soap nuts. They were like all the way at the back. I need to figure out if these are still okay, because there is loads in there. If anyone knows how, I guess I could just put them in water, and if they get sudsy then they must be fine. But yeah, the bag definitely needs a wash, because clearly they've got wet at some point. But there is so much here to go through, and I'm quite, I want to say embarrassed, but I think embarrassed not the one, like ashamed maybe. When I was in a really dark place in my life, I just used to buy cleaning products. I don't know why. I don't know why I did. The scent of them maybe was really comforting, but yeah, how crazy is this? Just out of control, just absolutely mental. So what I'm going to do, because I'm really trying to not use chemicals in my life anymore, I really feel passionate about it, but I also don't want to waste things. So I'm going to put the ones I don't want to use, like full stop, into a box, and then I can take some to my dad's house because I need to clean at his house, and you know, he just uses normal products. And then the rest of them I might pop on Facebook Marketplace, or I think there's an app called Olio, or even FreeCycle, just so that they can be used by people who will appreciate them. But I don't feel the need to have to use these, because it feels like a conflict for me inside, and I feel like any kind of conflict just creates emotional turmoil for yourself. And I feel like using products that I've said I'm done with just for the sake of using them just doesn't make sense to me, because I'm trying to look after my health. So wow, this is a lot. This is a lot. Crazy. So what I'm going to do first, like I said, is just go through, be really ruthless. I really want this to feel like a really clean, easy solution. I'm wondering if the local food bank might want some of this as well. Not that it's food, but you know, they do cleaning products and stuff, because some of these things have like hardly been used at all. There are little hints of me trying, like there is like a Faith of Nature soap there which I need to refill. The bathroom soap has needed refilling for ages, and I knew that there was one in there, but I could not be bothered to try and tackle it. And we got some Method sprays. What's this one? That's another hand wash. And then Method floor cleaner, which is what's leaked, so that needs cleaning, and then I can keep using those. But yeah, wish me luck, guys. So something that's become really important to me is my hormonal health, and I really don't want to be bringing endocrine disruptors into my life anymore. It feels really just not in alignment, and so that is the reason that I am decluttering. That's not to say that you need to declutter all of your products too, it just is what felt right for me, and I like to share my honest journey on this channel, and this was just a part of my reality. So cleaning all the grime away, because it was pretty grotty under there, not gonna lie, and I actually love this little storage solution I got last time I decluttered in here. It's been great, an absolute godsend, especially if you have a smaller home, and especially if you have, you know, an under the sink cupboard, because usually it's just a lot of dead space, but this makes it much more organised, when you're being organised that is, and just so much more usable as well. And I just loved how this turned out. It looked very aesthetic, which wasn't my original intention, but I guess aesthetic means that it's also going to be functional, which is a brilliant thing. And the fact that I can see every single thing in there makes such a big difference to before, when I would find one thing and everything else would fall out. So these are just little refills for my cleaning sprays. I've got some pink stuff and just some old brushes as well to do the cleaning with. And then I have this little handy basket for all of my cloths, which is so good, and look at the difference. I can't even explain the difference. I'm going to put a before and after so you can see, but wow. This is my finished product. I am super happy with how this looks. It feels just so much more simple and easy, and just, I just love it. So up at the top here, I've just got my little pulley outy thingy full of microfiber cloths. If I could go back in time now, I would rather use cloths with no plastic fibres, but I have these now, so I'm just going to use them until they're dead, which will probably last me for a lifetime, let's be honest. So yeah, they're just in there. And then at the back there, I've just got my laundry stuff. So at the minute I'm using Wilton. I'm trying all different kinds of brands, and I'm going to eventually start trying to make things myself as well. But yeah, I bought these myself, and then they sent me a few extra things as a thank you, I guess, for mentioning them. So that was really kind of them. So I've actually got their liquid and conditioner for washing clothes. I've got some washing up liquid to try. I've got some plastic free sponges, which I'm really excited about, and then I've got their multi-surface cleaner as well. I've also got a cleaner from Purdy and Fig, which I really love, and it came with a bottle as well. And so yeah, I've got this bottle from Koishi Home, I think, which is a brilliant brand if you're looking for glass bottles. And this is just my vinegar spray that I've been using recently and loving. At the back there, I've got a few extra bottles, so one from Purdy and Fig, and then just this spray one from a long time ago, but it's fab for, I guess, if I ever need to use it for spraying things. I actually think I might fill this with water and mist the Christmas tree. And then at the back there, I just found these metal scourers, so I'm going to use those up too. I've got my Faith in Nature soap, so hand wash, which I can fill my hand washers up with now. As I said, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with these conventional products. I do love the smell of these, but again, it just feels a bit like a conflict. But I also am aware that I might get a bit of backlash for feeling like I'm being wasteful. None of it's going to go to waste, it's all going to be used by other people, so just kind of a change around of resources. So I'm going to leave these here. If I find I'm not touching them, then I will completely give them away. And then at the back there, for the first time in my adult life, I have somewhere for my vases to go, which is fantastic. And then these are just in here for now, but I do need to take them out, give them a wash. Not the soap nuts, but the bag. But for now, it's just there. And then here I have another container. This used to have all my laundry pods in. When I ran out of laundry pods, that was when I started trying to switch to something a bit more natural. So I am going to keep this because I really want to buy some baking soda, some bulk vinegar and citric acid and start making my own bits and bobs. So containers like this will be super handy for that. And that's what my dream is for this little under the sink cupboard, is just for it to be this little beautiful area of loads of sustainable and much more eco-friendly things that I'm making myself as well. So I'm really happy I found my soap nuts. They're fab. Yeah, and that is it for under here. It feels so good. And then ages ago I did these, which I think are fantastic. So it's just a little hook, a command hook, and the brush has fallen off right now, but let me put this back on. There we go. It just is so perfect. But before, the cupboard was so full that this would just fall off all the time. So really happy with that. Feeling so much more just clear. My mind feels clear. As for the rest of the house, not so clear. So here I've got, well, you'll have to ignore the paints there on the way into the rest of the house, which again aren't low tox, but I've already bought them, so I don't know what, I'm just gonna have to use them now. I don't want to be completely wasteful because I can't afford to give those away for free. These are all bits that have run out and were just taking up space for no reason. I've got an extra container there, which is always handy. And then just here is my box of giveaway, which, wow, is so much. Like I said, very embarrassed about this, but just being real with you guys, you know. I think we can hoard many a thing, and cleaning products clearly was my thing. So I have got some bits there that I am just really not happy with using anymore. So in fact, this was actually here when we moved in. So that's been taking up space in the cupboard for 3 years. So I am gonna figure out what to do with this box of bits, and I hope this has inspired you if you're feeling in conflict with yourself as well, or if you're not getting rid of products and things, that you can just go through your cupboard like Rory's doing for me and just have a bit of a declutter and a bit of a rejig around. It's not always about removing things, it could just be making things a little bit easier for yourself. I meant to say too, I've got this and it's empty basically. I'm going to keep this bottle because this is fab for when Rory has his little hairballs on my rug. It's so good to be able to clean the rug with. So yeah, things like this where you can upcycle them are fantastic. I'll be able to pop my own little DIY Rory sick remover cleaner in here and just touch up the carpets whenever I need to. So the next cupboard is the cat's cupboard. This one again was another grotty one that I just really needed to get on with. I hadn't realised how bad it had got until recently I got the bird feed out, and there was just this really gross mouldy biscuit that had fallen out of one of the treat packets, so it did need doing. Rory, as he can see, was helping slash not helping but being adorable. I just did what I always do. I took everything out. You can see those disgusting biscuits at the top there. And yeah, I just think the best way to start from scratch is to just take everything out, give it a good clean, and then put everything back in again in an order that just makes more sense for you. So I was quite happy with how I was utilising this cupboard, but I decided to put the cat's food out of our mug cupboard into this cupboard. So now it's a fully functional cat cupboard. Yes, a dedicated cat cupboard. But wow, it just makes such a difference. That just feels so much more simple. Next up is the dreaded mug cupboard. So I did make some space in here by moving the cat food out. Don't ask me why the cat food ended up in here. I think it was just because it was easiest and it was just, you know, easy to get to, but the hydraulics on these cupboards have actually broken. So it took me a few attempts to get these mugs in an order that made sense, but I just tried to group them into mugs we use a lot, mugs we use for guests, and then our favourite mugs down at the bottom, and eventually I got there. Again, I think we have actually got more mugs than we do have space for, but we once had a lot of people around and we used every single one of our mugs, so I think it's good sometimes to have a surplus of mugs, especially if they bring you joy, and that's exactly what they do for us. So I'm happy, and I think in the end it worked out. And then we are on to the kitchen cupboards. Oh wow. You know when you watch something back and you think, how did I function on a daily basis? I really don't know, and I think part of minimalism for me and living a more simple life is making life enjoyable and easy, and this cupboard, let me tell you, it was not easy. I go in this cupboard multiple times a day, and just having things fall out on me or having to be really careful so they don't fall out on me, it was such a mental drain. And I just think when you are in a low place, it's easy to just let things get on top of you like that. But sometimes taking control and just completely having a declutter makes such a big difference. It takes a lot of energy, but I think the energy output for the rest of your life is much lower, which is a good thing. And don't be scared as well to move shelves around. I always do this. I had a real struggle moving these little pin things. In the end, I had to get the pliers, but it was worth the effort, let me tell you. It just made so much more space in this cupboard, and I have been kicking myself for the last few days because I've moved the plates and bowls around, and if any of you have done that before, you know how annoying it is when you keep going into the same cupboard and you've moved things around. My mum used to do it to us all the time, but it felt good, and it just made it so much easier. It meant that all my baking stuff was in the one cupboard, that I didn't have to try and lean over and scramble, and it was just so much easier to get the plates and bowls out of the other cupboard that was a bit further away. And I love using jars to keep food fresh. It does such a good job, and I think it keeps all the damp out, keeps all the bugs out. Like, it just does such a great job, and it made me so happy that all of my pasta fit in this perfectly, because oftentimes I do end up with overflow. I am going to have a look into my jars and try and decide if I need some bigger jars or if the jars I've got are actually working for me. But for now, they're doing the job, and I just used what I already had rather than buying things new, because I like to live with a space before I try and change things up, or, you know, I don't know, buy products or try and reuse old jars as well. And so yeah, I just popped all my sugar, my flour and pasta, bits like that, just all the cupboard staples. And it was at this point that I completely ran out of enthusiasm. I just looked around and I was like, what have I done? What have I done? I can't believe what a mess it was. And you know, when you just feel so disheartened, I just ran out of enthusiasm. And I think it's important to leave this here, because oftentimes declutter videos, they start well, they end well, it's just this beautiful story. But the reality is, sometimes we just run out of enthusiasm for it, we run out of energy and motivation, and that is exactly what happened to me. So I sat down for a little while, and then I just decided to tidy up. And it didn't matter that it wasn't finished, because that was never my intention. My intention was to try to do as much as I could do before I ran out of steam. And to be honest, the last few days I've been living with my cupboards like this, and it's just a breath of fresh air. It feels amazing, and I highly recommend to do it. So just start chipping away, one cupboard at a time. Your house might look like chaos, but trust me, it's worth it. What a mission that was. Wow, it felt so good to do it though. I was absolutely exhausted by the end of it, and I ran out of light as well, and I always think it's more inspiring decluttering in the daylight, which is a challenge when it's winter now, but it felt good to do, and the kitchen now just feels so much better. There are still so many drawers and cupboards that just need dealing with, and the more I'm in there and the more I'm using those nice, clean, tidy cupboards, the more it's inspiring me to do the rest. So I highly recommend to do that as a starting point, to just clear one cupboard. Because the more you use that one cupboard and you feel the relief that it gives you, the more it will inspire you to do the same in all of the other cupboards and areas of your life. So I really hope this video has inspired you today, and I hope that you found it interesting and that you can be kind with me on my journey, because I was once a very minimalist person. I lived out of the tiniest backpack, I've lived in a van, I've lived in cars, you know, I've travelled around the world with literally hardly any possessions, and what a good feeling that was to do that. And then I feel like coming back home, having space to sprawl, oh I have. And I think for me, mental health plays a big part in this, and I am not massively ashamed of who I have been, because I feel like I'm transitioning and I'm changing, and I think it's important to include this in a decluttering video. We end up having clutter in our lives for a reason, and oftentimes that reason is overwhelming life, not feeling in a good place in life, using material objects to bring peace and happiness, which oftentimes does the opposite, because it might give you that little adrenaline rush right when you get it, but then when you have to pile it into a wardrobe and, you know, karate chop it closed so you can carry on with your life, it doesn't bring so much joy then. And it's just about finding space in your life to be able to sit down and think, what area of my life is actually getting on top of me? So for me, it was the kitchen. The next place I really want to do is my bedroom, but I'm probably going to do it room by room. So next we will do the living room, and we'll work our way upstairs all the way to the dreaded loft. Hopefully by the time Christmas is over, so probably like late January for you guys when I post it, I really want to clean out the loft. it's going to be a big job. So make sure you subscribe and join me on this very fun, very challenging journey. I really hope that it's inspired you to do the same. Let me know down below where you are on your journey to minimalism/decluttering, because minimalism looks different for everybody and I'm so aware of that, but it feels good. It feels so good and I'm so happy to be able to share this journey with you all on this channel. So thank you so much for watching today. If you want to see more videos from me on my decluttering journey, I'll leave my playlist down below, but thank you so much. You have an amazing rest of your day and I'll speak to you all again in my next video. Bye.